Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're getting to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 2. We'll be chanting together verse 34. Chapter's entitled Hiranyakashipu, King of the Demons. Ki? Huh? Boo. Yesterday, Maharaj had the assignment of 25 through 32, and we didn't read 25, 6, 7, 8. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and read those leading on up to this verse so we hear all the nectar we can from Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll go ahead and just read the English text 25. In his bewildered state, the living entity, accepting the body and mind to be the self, considers some people to be his kinsmen, others to be outsiders. Because of this misconception, he suffers. Indeed, the accumulation of such concocted material ideas is the cause of suffering and so-called happiness in the material world. The conditioned soul, thus situated, must take birth in different species and work in various types of consciousness, thus creating new bodies. This continued material life is called samsara, birth, death, lamentation, foolishness, and anxiety are due to such material considerations. Thus we sometimes come to a proper understanding and sometimes fall again to a wrong conception of life. 27. In this regard, an example is given from an old history. This involves a discourse between Yamaraj and the friends of a dead person. Please hear it attentively. Purport. The words itihasam puratana mean an old history. The Puranas are not chronologically recorded, but the incidents mentioned in the Puranas are actual histories of bygone ages. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Mahapurana, the essence of all the Puranas. The Mayavadi scholars do not accept the Puranas, but Srila Madhvacharya and all other authorities accept them as authoritative histories of the world. Very good. Yes. Okay. Text 28. In the state known as Ushinara, there was a celebrated king named Suyagya. When the king was killed in battle by his enemies, his kinsmen sat down around the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend. These are the verses we heard Maharaj speak on. His golden bejeweled armor smashed, his ornaments and garlands fallen from their places, his hair scattered and his eyes lusterless. The slain king lay on the battlefield, his entire body smeared with blood, his heart pierced by the arrows of the enemy. When he died, he had wanted to show his prowess, and thus he had bitten his lips, and his teeth remained in that position. His beautiful lotus-like face was now black and covered with dust from the battlefield. His arms with his sword and other weapons were cut and broken. When the queens of the king of Ushinara saw their husband lying in that position, they began crying, "O Lord, now that you've been killed, we've also been killed." Repeating these words again and again, they fell down, pounding their breasts at the feet of the dead king. 32. As the queens loudly cried, their tears glided down their breast, becoming reddened by the kumkum powder, and fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair became disarrayed, their ornaments fell, and in a way that evoked sympathy from the hearts of others, the queens began lamenting their husband's death. 33. O Lord, you've now been removed by cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. You had previously sustained the livelihood of the inhabitants of Ishinara, and thus they were happy. But your condition now is the cause of their unhappiness. We can chant together. 34. Tvaya Kitagyena Vayam Mahapate Katam Vina Shama Saritamena Te Titranuyanam Tava Vira Hariyo Shashushatinam Disha Yatra Yasyasi Tvaya Krita Gena Vayam Mahipate Katam Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Shashushatinam Dishayatra Yashyasi Tvaya Krita Gena Vayam Mahipate Katam Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Shashrushatinam Dishayatra Yashyasi. You can probably chant better than I, please. Tvaya Krite Gena Vayam Mahipate Katam Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Shashushatinam Dishayatra Yasyasi Yena Vayam Mahipate Katam Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Shashushatinam Disha Vaishnavis. Oh! Katam Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Vaishnavis, please. Tvaya Krite Vayam Mahipate Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Shashushatinam Dishayatra Yasyasi Tvaya Krite Gena Vayam Mahipate Katam Vinashama Saritamenate Tetranuyanam Tavavirya Padayo Shashushatinam Dishayatra Yasyasi Tvaya You Kritagena, a most grateful personality. Vayam, we, Mahipate, O King, Katam, how, Vina, without, Shama, shall exist, Saritamena, the best of our friends, Te, of you, Tatra, there, Anuyanam, the following, Tava, of you, Vira, O hero, Padayo, of the lotus feet, Shashushatinam, of those engaging in the service. Isha, please order. Yatra, where? Yashyasi, you will go. Translation, O king, O hero, you were a very grateful husband and the most sincere friend of all of us. How shall we exist without you? O hero, wherever you're going, please direct us there so we may follow in your footsteps and engage again in your service. Let us go along with you. Please repeat, O king, O hero, you are a very grateful husband and the most sincere friend to all of us. How shall we exist without you? O hero, wherever you are going, please direct us there so that we may follow in your footsteps and engage again in your service. Let us go along with you. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Formerly, a Kshatriya king was generally the husband of many wives. And after the death of the king, especially in the battlefield, all the queens would agree to accept Saha Marana, dying with the husband who was their life. When Pandu Maharaj, the father of the Pandavas, died, and his two wives, namely the mother of Yudhisthira, Bhima and Arjuna, and the mother of Nakula and Sahadev, were both ready to die in the fire with their husband. Later, after a compromise was arranged, Kunti stayed alive to care for the little children, and the other wife, Madri, was allowed to die with her husband. This system of Saha Marana continued in India even until the time of British rule, but later it was discouraged since the attitude of wives gradually changed with the advancement of Kali Yuga. Thus the system of Saha Marana has practically been abolished. Nevertheless, within the past 50 years, I've seen the wife of a medical practitioner voluntarily accept death immediately when her husband died. Both the husband and wife were taken in procession in the mourning case, mourning like grieving cart. Such intense love of a chaste wife for her husband is a special case. As we chant our invocational prayers, could we pray to the divine personalities that they bless us so we can attentively hear and chant the glories of the Lord? Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Vanchakopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before I begin, if I may introduce myself to those who don't know me, my name is Rajendranandan, an insignificant disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, an aspiring disciple, devotee, servant of all of you Prabhus. It's local time again. Spread your arms. Let's see that smile. Pretty nice, huh? Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book that after the hot summer season, when the rains come, everyone is so happy and relieved. And I'd like to make note, basically the same thing I said in a Saturday afternoon program in the Grihastha Park when I first arrived. Srila Prabhupada wants to attract the entire world to Mayapur. That's the exact quote. And we just had an experience of hundreds of thousands of devotees and pilgrims coming to join us in worshiping Shishi Panchatattva, Radha Madhava, and Sri Nrsingadev. I would like to ask you to stop and think what your mind, how your false ego responded when you were pushed, grabbed onto, stepped on. I got slapped a number of times passing the ghee lamp around. That was a little awakening. But how did we react? If we were not trying to imbibe the mood and directions of our spiritual master, our founder Acharya's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, we probably got upset. We might have pushed back. In our mind, we might have thought, don't they know who they're stepping on? Why are they standing in front of me? But the fact of the matter is, we're all guests in the house of the Lord, the house of our spiritual master. And if you do think that you are servants, locals here, then it's our business to serve these pilgrims and Vaishnavas. Jananivas Prabhu a few times has recounted how he heard Srila Prabhupada standing on the Lotus building, looking out on the road and asking, where are all the guests? Where are all the people? Why aren't they coming? They are coming now. And I have no doubt whatsoever, Srila Prabhupada is extremely happy to see the world becoming attracted to Mayapur. They have a test for rats and also human beings where they'll attach you to some little electrical thing, or you have a button you push every time something takes place and you can get a little electrical shock. Every time we were seeing or just giving power of attorney to our mind and false ego and thinking and becoming upset when this body was being pushed, stepped on, stood in front of, slapped, then that thought was the electrical shock of, we've got a long ways to go in Krishna consciousness. One of the offenses to devotees in chanting the holy names of the Lord is to blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their lives to propagating Krishna consciousness. Now in Vaishnava Aparad, there's many kinds. The first one, not to be happy when you see a devotee. Sometimes you ever think about, yeah, that's an offense. But our mind can tell us, these aren't devotees. They don't look like devotees. They don't have my dhoti on. They're tilak. They're not even wearing tilak. And they're pushing me. What kind of devotee is that? We have no clue when we're in the bodily concept of life and we're looking at them as bodies. It may surprise you. It surprised Chatur and I, someone who speaks Bengali, who has come to Mayapur after many years and who's dear to many of the local brahmacharis, etc. She was asking, we were talking, how do you think they perceive us? And we thought, maybe they think we're a little indifferent or what have you. I don't speak the language. I'm an idiot. I have the luxury of I'll be sitting in a boat or a bus or whatever, a crowd, and, it's white noise to me. Hare Krishna, I'm not bothered. But she said, no. They often think that we have the idea that they're second-class citizens. That was a slap in the face. How could they perceive that? To the degree we're absorbed in the bodily concept of life, to that degree we're absorbed in our body and our mind. And it's very conducive to impersonalism and disrespect. We objectify such a person. They're just a body in the way. They're an obstacle to my sense gratification, to my happiness. Or, as the mind would have us think, our worship of the Supreme Lord and the Spiritual Master. When you objectify people, animals, or any sentient being, then you can do anything to them. What to speak of not respecting them, or as Maharaj yesterday was talking about, not caring for, sharing with, serving them. When we say das, das, anudas, this is our identity. Hopefully I'll get a little bit to Sri Dharma, Grihastha Dharma. The verse really is talking about this next step of the wife after the husband leaves. But I'm dealing really with Atma Tattva right now, which is the topic of the chapter. Hiranyakashipu is consoling his mother, his sister-in-law, etc., etc. Speaking pretty good words, too. They sound great. And we as devotees should be taking the essence of them. 3 of my Prabhus in the last few classes have been making the point that Hiranyakashipu is Jai. He has knowledge of Atma Tattva because he's a devotee. Devotees are supposed to understand these things. Mad Bhaktyam Labhate Param. Devotion starts when you understand these things. That I'm spirit soul. In the mood of discussing it threadbare, I'll quote what Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam says, because I looked and I didn't find that particular understanding of his being able to speak such nice words, consoling his lamenting relatives. Text number 19, O king, Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry, but since he was a great politician, he knew how to act according to the time and situation. With sweet words, he began pacifying his nephews. He spoke to them as follows. And in the purport to the next verse, 21, Srila Prabhupada says, although Hiranyakashipu was a demon, he had Vedic knowledge and understanding. Thus, the advice given to his family members, his sister-in-law, mother, and nephews was quite sound. The demons are considered highly elevated in knowledge. But because they do not use their good intelligence for the service of the Lord, they are called demons. The demigods, however, act very intelligently to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, no doubt he is Jai, his brother is Vijay, and in their constitutional position, service in Vaikuntha, of course they're perfectly aware of the glories of the Lord and the devotees. It was Yoga Maya that caused them to shut the door in the face of the Kumaras to begin with. The same Yoga Maya is acting upon them in this world, and they don't have a clue they're devotees. They are enemies of Lord Vishnu, enemies of his devotees, enemies of the demigods. They did a holocaust on the earth planet, cutting all the trees, burning the towns, the villages, killing the cows, etc., etc. This is not someone realized in Atmagyan. As Maharaj said yesterday, we speak the talk. We're talking, we're not the body, we're Krishna's eternal spirit soul, his servant. But without the realization, we continue to be upset when someone steps on my toes, stands in front of me, says something about my body, activities, words, etc. Those two don't add up. There's a disconnect. It's a lack of realization. In Das, Das, Anudas, one thinks himself the servant of Krishna. 10 times removed, 100 times removed, 1,000 times removed, 1,000,000 times removed from Krishna, servant of his servants. And we had a good example, a good experience, a good test, how much we understand that with all the hundreds of thousands of pilgrims and devotees that came. The real devotees think themselves last. that may be considered, and appropriately so, understood to be elevated bhakti. But it is the goal, and as Maharaj was saying, we should hear the goal, repeat the goal. Someday we will become comfortable with the goal and want to develop those qualities that allow us to act on the platform of loving service to Krishna and his devotees. So what are we? To say the full verse, I'm eternal part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, therefore I'm his eternal servant. I aspire for his mercy at every moment. O Lord, O Master, when the illusion that separates the Supreme Lord from this material world is removed, I will realize I'm an integral part of you, an eternal servant. I can never be considered the Supreme Lord. Who am I? I am his. I'm a pure spirit soul. I'm not a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. Nor am I a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi. I'm nothing more than a servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. O Krishna, I am yours. I'm taking shelter of you. I am yours, O Lord of Srimati Radhika, as are my actions, mind, and words. O Srimati Radharani, lover of Sri Krishna, I belong to you alone. O Radha and Madhava, O oceans of mercy, you are my only real shelter, so I take shelter of you. Although I'm such a fallen offender, please be merciful to me and make me your servant. O Srimati Radharani, beloved of Lord Govinda, this is my humble request. May you both consider me as one of your assistants. That's who we are. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not the body. But as one of my godbrothers told me yesterday, Bhaktividya Purna Swami, who will be very fortunate to hear from tomorrow, he says, but the body's the body. I like the joke, you're not your body. And the person asks, well, whose body am I? The reality is that body belongs to Krishna. That intelligence, those words, your activities, everything belongs to Krishna. And when the Prabhu asked Bhaktidir Damodar Swami, how do we take care of the body? We're not the body, but where's the balance? And that's where we have to emphasize as the goal that we are Krishna's and everything is his. Whatever I possess, my body, house, servants, brothers, friends, wife, children, and household paraphernalia all belong to you, Krishna. I am your servant. I simply live in your house. You're the owner of my household, and I'm just your servant. From now on, all my endeavors will be directed towards giving you happiness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues, all my friends, my wife, my sons and daughters are your servants and maidservants. According to this understanding, I maintain my relationship with them. Because my wealth, followers, wife, and household articles all belong to you, I, as your servant, simply maintain them. I earn money so it can be used in your service. I spend it to maintain your household. To the degree we've developed our respect, affection, attachment, and love to Krishna, to that degree we're able to reciprocate with his servants, with the devotees and the conditioned souls. If you respect the Lord, you may have some respect for his devotees. If you're attached to the Lord, you can exhibit attachment to the devotees and act accordingly. If you love him, you automatically love his devotees. When one is on that platform, which we're all aspiring for or praying for, endeavoring in the process of sadhana bhakti, Srila Prabhupada says, if you'll chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles, and in one purport in the song of Lord Shiva, Rudra Gita, in the purport he says, and if you'll avoid the 10 offenses, avoid the 64 offenses to the deity, then you can attain the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness in this life. These are the blessings that are being offered. If we are endeavoring to receive, accept those blessings, then we try to be conscientious of how we are acting, thinking, and talking. It's easy to be Krishna conscious in the shower. when we get in the midst of hundreds of thousands of other devotees, not so easy. Or let's bring it down home. This is about household life. What do we do? You know, old days of dysfunctional slam the women by renunciations where it's at. Oh yeah, the women's attitude has changed in Kali Yuga. It's their fault they're not jumping in the fire after their husbands. I don't know how many of you Prabhus have a wife that when they refer to your feet say your lotus feet. Mine doesn't. Busted. He was a grateful husband. He was a dear friend. Radhika Nagar's marriage ceremony with his good wife. There were a couple things. I just ran through them. I'm just going to repeat them because so many people said so much encouraging words about, wow, that's wonderful. This is Grihastha Dharma. And it's all based on Krishna consciousness, what we heard Bhaktivinoda Thakur say. Always communicate. Reveal your mind to each other. It's the way we exchange love. Women, we can't read your minds. We're different than you. You have to tell us. I know it's a drag. We're idiots. But we really do want to serve you. We want to be your friend. Please allow us. You're the maidservant of Krishna. Can I assist you in your service to Guru and Vaishnavas and Krishna? Let us know how to serve. For the guy, we're meant to remain the shining example of devotees. If we remain the shining example of devotees that attracted our wife to us in the first place, they'll follow us to the end of the earth. They may not refer to our feet as lotus feet, but they'll be our biggest fan. They'll be there to serve, to encourage, and give us plenty of opportunity for service. And that's what devotional service, Krishna consciousness, is about. Sacrifice. Everyone in every ashram is meant to sacrifice. The heart muscles are meant to be softened, to be molded, to be stretched, so that ultimately we will want to give our entire life and all that that means in this life and the next to the service of Krishna and his devotees. Never go to bed with an argument unresolved. Take care of the business. Arguments generally are due to false ego. Husband and wife who are friends, who are trying to please Krishna together, ultimately they're able to laugh at the foolishness of arguing about something stupid. Sometimes, rarely, it'll be because of individuality and the desire simply to please Krishna. And then that's okay. As Lord Chaitanya told Jagadananda Pandit after they argued, and he cried all day and all night on the bank of the Ganga. Lord Chaitanya and Gadadhar went to get him and said, why are you here? Jagadananda, we're friends. Sometimes we disagree with each other. We argue. But these arguments only bring us closer together, only increase our love for each other. That's unity in diversity. And that's what we hear the talk, we hear the resolutions, we hear the, but it has to start one-on-one. And from there, build in our society. And marriage is a very good place to start for most of us. And realize that neither the husband nor the wife can fully satisfy the other. That's Krishna and Krishna alone who can do that. Nobody else. And that's the joke. These women, their hearts have been broken. They're piteously wailing, evoking the sympathy of everyone who sees them. Their husband is gone. Every relationship of this world, even if, not dukhalayam, but how do we say it? Sukhalayam. Even if it's perfect, it's going to be broken. It's going to end in tears. It's the nature of this world. Not on the spiritual platform. Srila Prabhupada gives a purport almost exactly like this one in the 4th canto when Vidarbi laments that her husband, the King Maladwaja, has left her. She can no longer serve his form. She is crying piteously, as one should when one loses one's spiritual master or a dear devotee. Srila Prabhupada said, slight difference, as late as 1936, I saw one woman voluntarily jump in the fire because the pain of separation was greater than the pain of burning in the fire. Devotees can manifest qualities that will win the hearts of others. When you truly love someone, everyone will love you. If you care about others, they will care for you. If you respect them, they will respect you. It's a very reciprocal thing, and people are not stupid. They know when we are just not really taking, when we take each other for granted. We may think the Folded Palms program will do it. But Krishna consciousness and loving exchanges is so much deeper than that. The Daivi Varnashram helps us to practice in Krishna consciousness how to act. Swing the arms, move the lips, etc. To drag the mind finally to the point of becoming accustomed to and wanting to act as a spiritual servant of the Lord and his devotees. But we have to continually emphasize this goal. Why is the disconnect there? In our philosophy, in the class, in the application, how we reciprocate with each other? It's offenses, like Srila Prabhupada said in the purport that I mentioned. Maintaining material attachment, that's what the body, mind, and false ego does, even after hearing so many instructions on the matter. If we are sleepwalking through our devotional service, then we're watering the weeds every time we're chanting. Or kirtan, same thing. There's benefit, but the weeds will bear fruit also, and one has to experience that. Distraction, that obstacle, the things that make the reciprocations in our society a disturbance. We have to be mindful when we speak. Are we speaking? Are we doing any service because we want the recognition? Do I want followers? Do I want money? What do we want from Krishna? If we're sleepwalking, probably we want something gross or subtle in return. Srila Prabhupada in that same section of Lord Shiva's song said there are many karmis in the dress of devotees. And they want the temporary benefits from the Lord, and he gives it. Our hope is that he will be kind enough to us, and we have enough attachment to the desire to go back home to Godhead, to be his eternal servant, that he will do so in such a way that we'll realize, what an idiot. Why am I maintaining these desires? They're the cause of my fear, my lamentation, my anxiety, my death, my disease. I was associating with Harisari Prabhu, and if you're listening, this is done in complete respect. His preaching now, in terms how it entered my ears, was so much more potent than I'd ever heard him. Why? Because he has no doubt whatsoever this body is a vehicle of misery. Don't think it won't happen to you. It will. The body is designed to be such. Give you misery, give you pain, and if you identify with it, instead of, as Krishna says, always think of me. Just remember me. Absorb your consciousness in me and carry out your duties. In this way you will come back to me. Srila Prabhupada says, if you've got some time, the best thing would be to chant Hare Krishna more and more, because our life is very short. And we have to finish our Krishna consciousness this life very quickly. We do not know when we shall meet our next death, our next exit from this platform. But before going out of this platform, we may try to finish Krishna consciousness. This is our main business. So we're meant to wake up. Lord Gauranga calls, wake up, sleeping souls, wake up. You slept so long in the lap of the witch Maya. You came into this world saying, oh Lord, I'll certainly worship you. But having forgotten this promise, you've remained in great ignorance. Or we remained attached even though we're in the society of devotees, even though we're following some of the instructions of the spiritual master. But Lord Chaitanya is saying, I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, who else is your friend? Not the husband, not the father. Srila Prabhupada in his humility said, everyone will cheat you. Only Krishna will not cheat you. He's our father, he's our mother, he's our husband, he's our lover, he's our child. He's our best friend. I've come just to save you. I brought the medicine for destroying the illusion of Maya. Now pray for this Maha Mantra, Harinam Maha Mantra, and take it. Thakur Bhaktivinoda fell at the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga, and after begging for the holy name, he received that Maha Mantra. Everything is right there in front of us. We have the treasure chest. It's there. We just have to open it up. We have to receive it. And our sincerity of wanting to receive it means take it seriously. Pray. What can I do? I'm an idiot. I have so many disqualifications, yet hope against hope. I have a spiritual master whose entire existence was just given to help me and you begin or continue and hopefully finish our Krishna consciousness. One Harinam Kirtan party was going on. Srila Prabhupada was there. One of the drinking couples on the side raised a glass of beer to the devotees. And Srila Prabhupada ecstatically, enthusiastically said, did you see that? They've begun their spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada is most grateful for any and all devotional service we do. Don't take it for granted. Don't coast. We want to show our part by doing the best we can in encouraging each other, assisting each other, sometimes softly, sometimes very strongly. When the little girl, 15 years old, with her mother came in Vrindavan, she has terminal cancer. She's going to leave her body. She's going to die in 2 months. Crying, she tells Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada, why are you crying? Of course you're going to die. It's not a question of not dying. Everyone's going to die. You die today, I die tomorrow, and he dies the next day. That's reality. But we act, we coast as if death isn't knocking right there. So very close. And it's a perfect arrangement by the Lord to help us become serious and enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. Embrace the gift that He's given. Open it up. We're begging for His mercy. I'm going to end on one nice prayer by Swarup Damodar to Lord Chaitanya. This is from Madhya Lila, 10th chapter, 119. O ocean of mercy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let there be an awakening of your auspicious mercy, which easily drives away all kinds of material lamentation by making everything pure and blissful. Indeed, your mercy awakens transcendental bliss and covers all material pleasures. By your auspicious mercy, quarrels and disagreements arising from different scriptures are vanquished. Your auspicious mercy pours forth transcendental mellows and causes the heart to jubilate. Your mercy, which is full of joy, always stimulates devotional service and glorifies conjugal love of God. May transcendental bliss be awakened within my heart by your causeless mercy. And what is that mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that He's come to give us? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Time's up. If you want to leave, forgive me for going on. If you'd like to ask any questions or comments, there might be a microphone. My dear friend, speak loudly.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for a very deep and enlightening class. Hare Krishna. I had a question in connection to the point you started off with. You were speaking about being accommodating to the pilgrims who come to the temple because they are guests of Krishna.
Okay.
And as caretakers of the temple, we should be accommodating to them. So I was wondering if you could comment on how we draw the line between being accommodating to guests to the temple and at the same time taking care of the facilities of the temple, i.e. keeping it clean if some guests may make the place dirty.
May not act properly.
Yes. So how do we draw the line without making any offenses?
Thank you for asking that nice question. I expected my feet to be put to the coals to some extent on this kind of point. By Krishna's grace, that's not my service. There are those who have the duty of being the cop, of being the security guard, of pushing the pilgrims along, of keeping them in line when they are acting in a way that will disrupt the greater good of all the devotees that are there. We should assist them as they make the announcement every time, cooperate with them. That's our assistance or my assistance. But for me, because it's not my service, I'm going to try and look at my dirty laundry and know that I want to come to the point of understanding, not understanding, realizing I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. He's real. This body isn't. It's temporary. I heard Prabhupada say when he came to Vrindavan announcing I might be dying soon and I wanted it to take place here. If it takes place, I want to be in Vrindavan. He said, Krishna is eternal. You are eternal. Service to the Lord is eternal. So go on serving the Lord. And in this way, go back home. That's what is the business of each and every one of us, accepting that gift, emphasizing that. And if you have the service of being the master, the guardian, the cop of the devotees, pray for empowerment to always remember you're their servant. They're just as dear as you are to the Lord. And when we are chastising or instructing others, it's meant to be from the platform of love, of concern. Does that address the issue okay?
Thank you very much.
You were quick.
Thank you for the wonderful class. Guruji, I have a question. You mentioned that inattentive chanting is like watering the weeds, and the weeds will bear fruits, and we'll have to suffer the consequences, distraction and other things.
Mm-hmm.
So then one may ask, why at all to chant inattentively?
One may ask what?
Why at all to chant when you cannot focus? You chant only qualitatively. So,
forgive my weakened sense of hearing, but I think you said, why should one chant if one chants attentively when we're supposed to chant quality rounds?
yes, yeah.
Because it's a gradual process. Rupa Goswami says it's amazing that when one has jaundice and sugar, rock candy tastes so bitter. I had jaundice in Vrindavan many years ago, and the cure is taking that bitter rock candy. I cannot describe how bad it tasted. But if one will continue to take that rock candy slowly, surely, but the disease is mitigated. Similarly, it takes time. A baby isn't born and immediately just stand up and start running. It's understood we're going to stumble, we're going to fall. Srila Prabhupada, in his letter to Giriraj Maharaj, years later, he looked it up because he felt, good golly, I'm still committing offenses in chanting. And he saw Srila Prabhupada's instruction was to him, and try your best to avoid the 10 offenses. That's all Krishna and Guru want to see, is your best. Our best may not be perfect, but anyone who is trying their best, they are recognized by Guru. Keep at it. Don't be tricked by Maya, or if anybody talks like that, oh, your rounds are offensive, don't chant. That's Maya. She's expert. She can use Shastra to take you to hell. Take another birth. Lord Chaitanya's mercy eradicates all those disagreements and misunderstandings of Shastra. Does it make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much.
You are next. You were the one that asked the question. Hare Krishna. Was it okay what I addressed?
Yeah. I was sleep sitting. You mentioned this point, sleepwalking, when we sleepwalking. So I was sleep sitting, and I just, somehow I, heard this point, sleepwalking. So I woke up.
Has he coined a new term?
Yeah.
Sleep sitting?
Sleep
okay.
Sitting. It's my term.
Is there a question? What's your question, Prabhu?
Actually, just you mentioned this point, sleepwalking, and I understood the meaning behind that. When we are trying to, pretend to do something, and there's underlying current is going on. We are trying to achieve something, but we pretend to be outside. We pretend to be something else. So I guess this is the meaning of sleepwalking. So isn't it our devotee should be introspective to avoid this sleepwalking? They should come back at home, because this is one of the symptom of a devotee, to be always introspective. I would like your comment on this.
Very difficult to control the mind, more difficult than controlling the raging wind. But Krishna says it is possible by constant practice and detachment. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says every morning beat your mind with shoes, and in the evening with the broomstick, the hard stick ones with the broom. That's the hearing and chanting of Hare Krishna, of Krishna's glories, the devotees of glories. When we fill our heart, our ears, our life, our thoughts with Krishna, 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 all these other things will dissipate by the grace of Guru and Krishna. It's a positive process, and we're attentive to the do-nots and what we have to be careful of. But primarily, it's about receiving the mercy, thinking of, chanting, hearing, remembering, these 9 processes. That's what that song, nice translation by Prabhupada, Govinda Das's Bhaja Hare Mana. And the mind may ask, my dear sir, what do you want me to do? If I'm not meant to do what you're saying we do, sleepwalk, what do you want me to do? Engage in the 9 processes of bhakti, but with one's consciousness, with one's mind, attentive to the details. That brings back the point, attentive to the person that you're in front of. Be present. That's Krishna conscious. Make sense? Anybody else? I was hoping you'd contribute, Mahatma Prabhu. Could somebody give him a microphone, please? You're very kind to tolerate my sitting here and speaking, Prabhu. Thank you.
Question. Yeah, okay. I think some other devotees may have this question also. As we well know, some portions of the Bhagavatam describe household life as something we should become detached from gradually, or something that is dangerous, even undesirable, or worse, a deep well, depending on how you deal with it. Now, in this verse, attachment is glorified, which seems like a complete change of philosophy. So could you explain that, the woman is so attached she can't live, and then we might think, oh, look at her, she's so attached. And Prabhupada, Prabhupada's glorifying that.
We would.
Yes,
I have no doubt. Yes. Srila Prabhupada, I heard him personally say, I had time to teach my devotees prachar, how to preach. And that's really what our movement's about, preaching Lord Chaitanya's mission. That's open to men and women. I could get the letters out, that 50 years of joy and service, if you haven't seen it on Facebook or what. Wonderful quotes from Srila Prabhupada. Man, woman, that's the bodily platform. Anyone and everyone can preach the glories of Krishna. You just have to surrender to one who knows the glories, serve him, receive the gift, and share it with others. But he said, I didn't have time to teach him achar. That's why we have so many silly, unnecessary, head-knocking, cultured people. They know how to maneuver through this life in such a way that, it's minimized. You're respectful. And isn't that part of the garland we're meant to wear around our neck? I don't expect the respect, but I'm respectful to you. So these things of being cultured are very important, only if they're dovetailed in the service of the Lord. The best culture you have is simply a line of zeros if you're not using it in Krishna's service. So yes, affection is there in household life. If not, you're not going to go the distance. We're Kali Yugites. We were speaking 4 godbrothers at the table yesterday. Every single one of us came from a broken home. The father or the 3 of the fathers left the wife, and one of the wives was smart enough to kick the rascal out. These are not husbands whose feet are referred to as lotus feet. This is the example we were given. Then we come to Krishna consciousness, and you have youngsters trying to imitate the Paramahamsa Pravajakacharya, Srila Prabhupada, and thinking women are the cause, they're Maya, and thus become averse and, just flip their own attachment into something that's Maya itself. So yes, we glorify the culture, but the application is most important. I mean, we gave our blessings to Radhika. You gave your blessings to Radhika Nagar and his wife. We want to bless the whole world with Krishna's culture, with Krishna's service. Does that make some sense?
Yes. So I was thinking.
Please, now you can comment.
No.
You heard the fool speak.
Another angle that may not be known so well is that Bhagavatam originally it's directed towards men. So and men who were on the path of renunciation. So you have to adjust it, obviously. The Grihastha Vision team had this course, Strengthening the Bonds That Free Us. And I really like that title, creating really good relationship as a means of purification, upliftment, that gradually evolves into a real kind of detachment, not an adverse detachment, but something where you're still respecting one another, and detachment becomes natural at the end of life. I also remember Prabhupada talking about women attached to their husbands and just glorifying them. They would die in the fire, how glorious that was. And contrasting that to modern day and divorce. So it also seems that sometimes devotees get confused because Prabhupada's talking on a social level in some instances and a philosophical level in other instances, and then they evolve to the philosophical, which sometimes becomes impractical, and we sometimes lose common sense in trying to understand it only philosophically.
Thank you. Chatura? You wait one moment, they'll give you a microphone. This is my friend, my god sister, my wife, if you don't know, Chatura Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to add one small thing. In the area of attachment, whether the man or the woman is being attached in Grihastha life, if we're attached to the good qualities, the Krishna qualities of each other, then that can only help each of us advance. So it's attachment, but it's also detachment at the same time.
Thank you. Anybody else? I could have spoke on both comments because they were so nice, but I'm trying to. One of the diseases of conditioned life is you'll have to pry this mic from my dead, cold fingers. Thank you for your time. Srila Prabhupada Ke, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ke, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ke. One time. Go! Hare Krishna.